Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys, we're going to be talking about a cool, interesting topic that I was thinking about recently, and that is, what is your favorite part about the game of Yu-Gi-Oh? Now, if you're playing this game, or you enjoy any aspect of the game in Yu-Gi-Oh as a whole, you know that you probably enjoy one aspect more than another. Some people may like the anime, watching the anime more than they like playing at a YCS event or going to a major tournament and trying to top. One person may enjoy trying to top an event, the other may enjoy the casual part. Different strokes for different folks, I guess you could say, as the old saying goes. But what is your favorite aspect in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh? Now, my favorite aspect in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, if you guys have been with my channel for quite some time, is actually deck building. That is my favorite thing to do in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, is actually build, test decks out, try to make them the best they can be competitively. I like trying to take these different concoctions of ideas that I could come up with, like, oh, today we're going to build an Egyptian god deck, but we're going to try to build it the best way possible with the most powerful cards of that format, is without splashing in zoo and everything. But like taking an idea, a concept like Egyptian gods and Yubel and these random ideas like, okay, people say Nordics suck, well, I want to try and make them the best they can be. Or taking like a deck I did last year, like Crab Turtle, and crafting a deck of my own concoction. And I love playing competitive decks, and I love taking in my own little ideas that make it work a little bit better for me. Different people may say, oh, I want to tech in more hand traps like Ghost Dash and whatnot, and I'll be the guy to be like, well, maybe I want to run a little bit more traps in this build. That way it's a little bit more protect the castle, because that's the way I like playing Blue Eyes. But different people out there have different ways they play their deck, and that's the one thing I've always loved, is deck testing, deck playing. I did not that long ago, like 3-4 years ago, I loved playing competitively. I was really into it. But the thing is, as the game has evolved and I've gotten older and more responsibilities, you're not able to really play as competitively as you were before, especially if you have to divvy out your time. But deck construction, I can always have time for. I love helping players out, try to tweak their deck, make it better, come up with different ideas, different solutions. Even if I don't know anything about the deck, I'm the type of person that has a vast knowledge about the card pool out there. When you've been playing this game competitively for many, many moons, and you pay attention to the game for a very long time, you have a vast knowledge of all these different tech cards that have been tried out in different decks throughout the game of Yu-Gi-Oh's history. Especially if you know very old school cards, like there's a card actually out there that helps you somewhat search for trap cards. Cat of Ill Omen. People don't remember this, they don't even know this, but you can use Cat of Ill Omen in one of your decks. So there's different ideas and concepts out there that people they forget about them. And I love taking those old ideas, resurrecting them for the modern era. Taking old archetypes, concepts, Egyptian god deck, things of that nature. Building these decks up as best as I can, testing and testing and testing, trying to make them the best I can in a fun manner, I guess you could say. As I've gotten older, I like a little bit of quirkiness with my decks, but I know there's a whole bunch of different ways people like playing their decks, and I respect that. Some people maybe like playing the deck one way, but I like playing it another way, and it works for me. For what I want out of it. But deck building at its core, the researching, the technical aspect of deck building, the ratios, trying to figure out what to figure out. I am the guy that loves doing that. I've always had a knack for that, just deck building with my technical brain, I guess you could say, because my brain is very logical in everything it thinks of. So I'll be like, okay, well, try this out. Okay, I call them the main components of deck building: consistency, draw power, search power over draw power every day of the week. But consistency, draw power, search power, and power plays. Those are the 4 things I consider in deck building when I did deck building. I even did a video on it, which is one of my, it's got over 100,000 views on my channel, 50,000 views. I did it 3 years ago, and people still watch it because the concepts I talked about are still correct in any era of the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Even in link summoning, deck building will have to change a little bit, but I've been enjoying it thoroughly going into link format, lately, and being like, oh, how can we make this deck still relevant in link format? How can we make this deck decent? How can we make this deck good? How can we make it the best it can be? That is my favorite part about the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's just the deck building aspect. Coming up with different concepts, different ideas, like, oh, this idea, this deck I used to play when I was, 13, 14 years old, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Let's resurrect this idea and let's implement it for the modern era, like Marauding Captain deck, a Synchro Exceed based deck that it was based off Warrior Toolbox I played, in 2004, 2005 era? Like, I took that concept and applied it for the modern era. Like, I love doing stuff like that. I love deck building. It is my favorite thing in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I love playing the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitively when I have the chance to, but lately I'm so been into like waiting for link format to come out, not kind of all hyped up for these past couple months. We've had Zoo and pretty much Zoo and everything, and then Grass is Greener and everything. I was kind of like, okay, that's fine, but the game's going to change completely, so I kind of want to focus on this because the game's going to change completely in a way. The concept of deck building, not the fundamentals like consistency and things of that nature and draw power and search power and power plays, but the way you build your decks may have to be a little bit differently in the early part of link formats. The early part of for the first year of link formats until we get more stuff in circulation. But what I'm trying to say is I have just been loving the aspect of tinkering with it, trying to understand it, comprehend it, and build with it. And if you guys have seen for the last 3 months, I always mention link format in the videos because I always have that in the back of my mind. How will this deck adapt to link format, to the new game, quote unquote, of Yu-Gi-Oh! To some degree? But yeah, that is my favorite aspect of the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Guys, is deck building. My second favorite aspect is playing competitively. I used to be a lot more of a competitive player in my younger days. I'm 27 years old now. I just turned 27. And, I've been playing this game since I was, 11, 12 years old. So I've been playing this game for a very long time, which, like I said, it accumulates vast knowledge of the history of the game, vast knowledge of the competitive aspect of the history of the game, a vast knowledge of just everything Yu-Gi-Oh! You absorb over those years. Meeting different people, seeing decks come and go, you understand how the game works. You understand what happens with the game. And I love playing competitively. I have that competitive drive in me, I guess you could say, but I'm not the type of guy that's going to be like, okay, there's a YCS 5 hours away, and I have work this weekend, and I need the money so I can take my girlfriend out to dinner. YCS, girlfriend wins. Like things of that nature. There's priorities, and I can't, be as competitive as I used to be. I want to start a family eventually. I want to play this game, until I can't play it anymore. But priorities have hindered me from being as competitive as I want to nowadays. And I do pay attention to the competitive meta. I keep my hand in the cookie jar, as I always say, because I love it. But the meta nowadays, compared to a couple years ago, like probably the end of the Zexal era, it fluctuates so volatilely. And what I mean by that is from literally we have product coming out a lot more than we used to back then. So it's a lot to keep up with. And that's very easy to do. But testing, play testing, knowing your deck completely and to the back of your, the best of your ability, is something that I just don't have time for. I don't have the ability to spend 15 hours a week, or do I desire to spend 15 hours a week just playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitively, playing the same deck over and over again when I'm like, I want to go watch a movie with my girlfriend. I want to go out to dinner tonight, instead of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Priorities shift as you get older. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been one of those things I've had to put in the back burner, but I still love it. I still love it with a very strong passion, and I always like passing on my words of knowledge or wisdom, I guess you could say, whatever you want to call it, onto newer players, players that are trying to get better. I always have time for players that are trying to ask opinions. And I know everybody in Yu-Gi-Oh! Has an opinion, but if they're asking a deck opinion or what tech cards can you try out, I'll be like, give me a second, let me think here. Oh, that card, it could work. And they're like, oh, didn't think of that. That could work. So like, different little things like that I love helping players out with. I love trying to help players get better. I've introduced my nephews, two of my nephews, into the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Recently. They've enjoyed it. They play it off and on for fun together, and I play it with them. Not taking like very powerful decks against them. I don't want to ruin their like, oh, you know, funness, I guess you could say. You know, I don't want to bring a zoo deck into a setting of that nature. When they're just playing dinosaurs and ancient gears. But yeah, deck building, playing this game competitively, and getting to meet players are some of my favorite things in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I guess you could say. Those are my three favorite things. Deck building, competitive play, playing the deck as best as you can, no matter what deck it is, and meeting new people along the way. Those are my three things. But tell me what your guys' favorite things are about this game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And until next time, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling, and I'll see you guys next time. And I had a lot of fun actually kind of doing this video and just talking with you guys. But take care, everybody. I'll see you guys next time.